All right, warriors, patriots, and preppers. Haven't made a video about it yet, but I thought today would be the day. Wuhan virus, right? This is a test. What do I mean by this is a test? This is a test for you to go down the list and think about your preparedness. Think about where you stand if this was a live, active virus that was affecting people the way it's affecting people in China in your area. Are you ready for a 24-hour indefinite lockdown? Something to consider, something to think about. I think the virus for China is going to be a little bit bigger than they're letting on. I get that it's a communist regime and they could do things a little easier than what they would be able to pull off here in America. I get that it's a de-armed population, or de-armed populace, however you want to say it. But to quarantine 50 to 60 million people, hell, to quarantine 1 million people is not an easy task. It's not an easy thing to be done by any government with any amount of control. It's, I think, one of those things where just based in the day and age and culture we live in, it's a little hard to fathom how big the area they're trying to quarantine is and exactly what's going on for the people there, because information is getting out slowly. I'm sure some of the videos you see are complete hoaxes. The ones where they're putting in people from into the medical vans and you hear gunshots in the background. I'm sure some of those are clips from Japanese movies or Chinese movies we don't know anything about. So just keep that in mind when you see this info and stuff coming out of coming online and coming out. I think one of the things it could be used for also is to kind of decredit alternative media. They're going to use it as a stepping stone to point out all the people who are wrong about the seriousness of it. I do believe that in the long run, they're going to use global pandemics to bring in a world government, mandate vaccines. And I don't care how you feel about vaccines. I just don't think they're for everybody. And the science does prove that. I mean, hell, Tylenol's not for everybody. So I think also, too, just as a principle of freedom, you should have the choice of what you put in your body. You shouldn't be forced to put anything in your body. That's a slippery slope. Obviously, vaccine science is real, but I don't want to go off on a jag on that. And back to my main subject here. Coronavirus is a test. It's a test of many different systems. It's a test for our local and federal governments about how they would respond to a crisis like this, and it's also a test for you locally to see how the people in your area are responding to this situation. I myself, and I'll probably put the clip in here at the end of the video, or I might have put it in at the beginning of the video, depends on how it looks once I edit it. But I myself, I went to my Home Depot and all the N95 masks were gone. They were bought out. I even bought some for my prepping buddy. We ended up doing a little barter for that just because he was sick, he had the type A flu, he wasn't able to go out and get it. So I just took it upon myself to hit him up, make sure he wanted some, and grab that little bit extra. So Home Depot was out of N95 masks. That's 3 trips since the last week. Today's the 31st, so 3 trips in the last 7 days. They are out. They're sold out. Also went to this is the video I alluded to. Also went to Walmart, and checked to see if they had any survival food. A lot of people don't realize that Walmart does carry survival food. It's just in the camping section, and it's called Mountain House. They do have some readiness kits. I've seen pictures of other Walmarts that have full-blown disaster survival area sections where they just are straight up selling the MREs and stuff to be prepared with. So that's pretty cool. If you have one of those Walmarts, I would suggest you to go check and see what your area is doing in lieu of this news. It's also a test on the populace of America and maybe the world in general, because there's a lot of dumb people out there who think the coronavirus actually has something to do with corona. I can't imagine how you would come to that conclusion unless you were just a complete buffoon, and maybe you need to be taken out by a virus at that point. Unpopular opinion maybe, but hey, that's how I feel about it. Also, it's a test for your friends and family to see who's that person who's going to joke about, oh, I'm going to come to your house if anything goes down. Oh, I know this. Oh, I know that. Now, I've had it both ways so far. I've had people say, oh, I'm going to come to your house. And I've also had people say, hey, guide me and direct me on what I need to get so I can be prepared. And then I've helped them do so. Helped them get to the point where they got about 2 weeks of survival supplies. I think if worse comes to worse, that might be the maximum time frame, just because of the incubation period. It's 10 to 14 days. So you figure they quarantine everybody for 2 weeks. That gives the medical around the country to get a hold on it, to kind of contain, figure out what's going on. I think that might be the biggest and longest term in America that we could possibly see, and I don't think it's going to be one of those mandated ones. I think it may be just putting out an alert that people should self-quarantine, and I think you'll see a lot of that. I already have people on my Instagram, go follow that by the way, who are hitting me up saying, hey, should I go to this event? Hey, should I go to that event? I myself even have some questions, because on the 8th, next Saturday, I have an event that I want to go to that I'm like, man, if it hits a certain level of people who are in this area for infected, then maybe I won't go. But for the most part, I think you're going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be something you have to worry about. But this is a test, a full-blown test for you to see how your communications work in terms of gathering information, see how your preps work. I mean, it's a great live action scenario for you to be, hey, I need to be at like a readiness phase of my preps and ready to lock this down in case I need to. So kind of rambled off on a jag, just wanted to get what I was thinking out. We're at Walmart checking out to see if they have any survival food left, and if they have any of the 3M mask left, if there's been a run in our local area or not. The Home Depot 3M mask with the N95 cannot find it, so I'm gonna find out if they got it here. All right, so plenty of Mountain House in stock. These little empty spots here, that's pretty typical for when you come here. So far so good in terms of some storable food here.